Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fire Up! I hope everybody's fired up tonight. I know my co-host, my husband, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth, he was fired up on his last show just that he ended, Sports Exchange. Check it out. Him and Rod Peterson talked a lot of NHL. But it's my all-star lineup tonight. I have next to me Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Katie. Enjoy being on this show. This is a country club, baby. I'm glad to be in the country club. I trained this woman. I trained them all in this place. Ralph Williams learned a thing or two in there. And Penman, he's coming along just nicely. Thank you very much. But this is your show. I'm just hanging out here with you. Good stuff.
I know. I got to let me introduce everybody now that you introduced everybody, but I'll do it again. And then my usual co-host, one of my co-hosts who's been on here for, geez, Ralph, how long have you been on here with me for a while? A while now,
right?
For a
little while, yeah. It's been a few. So
it's been a few. It's been, I think, over a year. I think almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome back, Ralph.
I'm still here though.
You are. That's awesome. Awesome. And then Mr. Pensman Sports, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm ready to get this show rocking and rolling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Since the last time we talked, Pensman, though, you have a little arm damage there.
Yeah, I had a little fall, but about 6 weeks, I'll be all right.
Okay. Is that all? Only 6 weeks?
Yeah, only 6 weeks.
Only 6 weeks. Well, let's get to our first topic of the night. And no, it is not with the title of the show. We're gonna talk about a lot of different topics tonight. We're gonna throw it to a couple of different sports. We are first gonna start in Pittsburgh, and we're gonna talk baseball because one of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Paul Skenes, feels his team can win the World Series without spending money like the LA Dodgers. What do you think about that? Ralph, you're in Pittsburgh. Tell us. How do you feel about that?
I don't know what's Paul Skenes, maybe his girlfriend or something. I don't know, but he's drinking some bad Kool-Aid or something because the Pittsburgh Pirates have done absolutely nothing except re-sign Andrew McCutchen. They brought in a first baseman. They traded for a couple relievers, but they need help in the starting pitching. I guess they'll wait for the scrap heap to come up. So, I don't see how they can win. Derek Shelton's not even that good of a manager to begin with. And we have a new hitting coach this year. So, we'll see what happens. I keep my fingers crossed every year because that's about all. But thank goodness for the Progy races, the fireworks, and the concerts after, and the bobbleheads. Because if it wasn't for those things, nobody would come to a Pirate game.
Wow. Ouch. Pensman Sports, what do you feel about what Paul Skenes had to say?
You have to spend money to get players. Yes. You have, like, the Mets just signed Juan Soto. In order to get players, you have to spend money. You can't take the same team and not spend money. 2 years in a row, they had the same record. So it's not, I don't know what Paul's thinking. I don't know if his Rookie of the Year award got to his head or what.
So, Scott, the Pirates, their payroll was $84 million. They ranked 29th. It was $156 million less than the Dodgers and $230 million less than the New York Mets for the 2024 season.
Right.
What do you think about what Paul Skenes said?
Well, let me piggyback off of Ralph because we need to teach him a little bit about journalism, okay? The Pirates are absolutely nutting, okay? N-U-T-T-I-N-G, not nothing. Kidding with you, Ralph. I had no choice. It's a segue. Number one, okay, before we worry about a World Series, why don't we worry about a winning record? This is the same franchise that lost 20 straight years in a row. And Mrs. Roberto Clemente was playing, don't make it 21 and don't embarrass Roberto. So before we worry about payrolls comparing them to the Dodgers and the Mets, because we all know that the Dodgers have a legal, what they what they're doing is legal monopoly because they're buying everything that they can buy because there's no salary cap in baseball. The Pirates have been the farm system for the rest of Major League Baseball for like till the end of time. Don't get me wrong, it's a proud fan base. It really is. I'm convinced that Pittsburgh could sell that building out all day long if they go out there and put together a good product out there. We're saying good. We're not talking about great. I'm sure that the crowds had to be pretty decent when you had Barry Bonds there and they were winning under Jim Leland. Bring back any kind of respectability where you get 85, 90 wins, and Pittsburgh's will flock like a bunch of geese because it is a great baseball town. What if they won 5 World Series championships? That's not bad. They won 5. So the reality of the situation is, Paul, to me, I'm glad you're there. The question is, down the road, can the Pittsburgh Pirates afford you? And I would say, if I have to say, my answer is absolutely not, or absolutely not. Wish them well, but not realistic. The Mets and the Dodgers have certainly paid a lot of money. The Marlins haven't spent a dime. But yeah, Andrew McCutchen, he's certainly one of the better players in recent history. I hope I'm wrong, Paul. I always say, please prove me wrong, please, but it ain't going to happen here.
So let me put in my 2 cents. And my 2 cents are Pittsburgh Pirates, shame on you. In 2023, your revenue was $309 million. You spent $120 million on your payroll last year. Can you do it with lower? I mean, let's face it, that's a big difference between your revenue and your payroll. I'm going to give you a small town market as well. The Milwaukee Brewers, because we all know that that's my team. Their revenue in 2020 or in 2023 was $320 million. Yes, that was what? 11 million more. Their payroll was only $153 million, which is a little bit more, I will give granted. But they made the playoffs. You don't have to spend Dodger money or New York Mets money, but you do have to spend money to get some quality players and to generate more revenue and more people. And you have to win games, because then your fans are going to want to come back and spend more money. If they spend more money, you make more money. The next year you can spend more money and you keep it going. Let's face it, the Mets spent a crazy amount of money, and the Dodgers are up there, but are they the 2 teams that always end up in the end? Is it always the highest payroll that end up winning the World Series? No.
No, not at all. Tampa Bay was in the World Series, and they had a low payroll.
Thanks for reality. Recent memory will tell you that the Kansas City Royals won a World Series championship against the Mets.
Yes. So, low budget teams can win, but they have to have good scouting. They have to have a good manager. They have to have a good front office that's and an owner that's at least willing to spend a little bit of money and bring in a couple decent stars. You don't have to have the whole farm and a good farm system. You got to have a good farm system. Pirates have one, but it's just a concept of, can they keep that farm system going? And they have to get some at least 1 or 2 quality guys to come in and at least try to do something. I'm satisfied. I would be satisfied if they went 500, because, like Scott said, at least that's something. That's winning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Major League Baseball has a good farm system too. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you.
Sorry. I know it's your my town, brother, but I'm a hardcore journalist. It's hard to argue with the facts.
I get it. Well, one of the things that happened this week in baseball, besides Paul Skenes saying that, is we had Hall of Fame was announced. Scott, who made the Hall of Fame this time?
Billy Wagner, CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki. They missed by 1 vote. I hear that Suzuki's trying to find out who the one person that snubbed them. They got it right on the ballot this time. They did. The 3 that belonged in there. The other 2 that fell short will make it next year. Because when I looked at the newcomers coming off the ballot, I didn't see anybody that struck me familiar. So I thought, where it's going to be. Billy Wagner, glad he made it in the 10th year of eligibility. Sabathia, excuse me, a little tongue tied there. He's for Suzuki, only are one and done on the ballot. It'll be a great class. I think they have Dick Allen and Dave Parker, another Pittsburgh guy, going to get in there. So they have a nice class going in this year. I've been to Cooperstown a couple times. Katie made her first trip there. Great place to go if you've ever been there. Go out there and go. It's an unbelievable place. Baseball got it right this time.
So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. There are some people that are saying that the reason why one voter votes against is because Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron didn't get in 100% unanimous. And so they don't want them to overtake them. So with that being said, is that the way it went down? I don't know. But Ichiro is the first Japanese player elected to Cooperstown. He had over 19 seasons between the Seattle Mariners, New York Yankees, and Marlins. Sabathia was baseball's premier workhorse over 19 seasons with Cleveland, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Yankees. He retired with a 251 wins, 161 losses record, 3.74 ERA, and 3,093 strikeouts. And then the last but not least, Wagner gained, like you said, Scott, entry into the Hall in its 10th and final year of eligibility. Let's see. He was a 53-year-old.
Tommy John David Cohn. I see here. Wow.
53-year-old who pitched for 5 teams over 16 big league seasons. He was very emotional when he got his call. So, Pensman, your thoughts?
Did Billy Wagner get in with the Phillies, Scott?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Did Billy Wagner get in with the Phillies?
No, Astros.
Houston Astros. Okay, because he was the closer for the
Houston Astros. Okay. I think he had like 400 some save, 432 or somewhere around there. Right.
But my dad used to take me to Phillies games a lot, and I saw Billy Wagner. I got to see CC a lot. I didn't get to see Ichiro, but I think they did all right. I'm happy with those guys. They deserve it. Could more people make it in? Yeah, but the voters will vote. So I think baseball got it right this time.
So let me ask you guys a question. You know what team that Ichiro got a 3,000 hit with?
Was it Seattle? Was it Seattle?
No, okay, that's your guess. What about you, Ralph?
What was the question again? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ichiro got a 3,000 hit with club.
Oh gosh, I couldn't even tell you that for real. I could take a guess. I'd say the Yankees.
Miami Marlins.
Marlins.
Okay.
That's why I threw it in there.
No, that's fine. I thought it was
I gotta get my baseball knowledge a little bit.
It doesn't matter. You know what, Ralph? Not too many people would have gotten this one. Don't feel too bad. Don't look at that as a knock. Let's just call that as an FYI.
Right.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. And one of the things I would say, Pensman, is I agree that, but I think putting only 3 in to the Hall of Fame in a year really makes it stand out and makes it that much more special, because there was how many people that could have actually, that retired and were eligible. I think it's
5 or 6.
Yes.
I personally don't remember the last time they put 4 in 1 year off the baseball record. I don't remember. It's probably been a while, but 3, that's a decent amount, let alone these particular 3 players. Yeah, they were all well deserved. And there's another little piece of information. Billy Wagner his first year barely had over 5%. So he kept growing and growing until he hit that threshold where by the last couple of years he was in the 60-70% range, where it was a matter of time where he was going to get in, and lo and behold, he did.
So Ichiro got in with 99.7%. CC Sabathia got in with 86.8%. Billy Wagner got in with 82.5%. The next one, Carlos Beltran, with his 3rd year of trying to get in, his percentage was at 70.3. And I will say that these three got in from the writers. There are two others, Dick Allen and Dave Parker, who were elected in December on the ERA committee ballot. And then longtime Cleveland Guardians broadcaster Tom Hamilton will also be honored as induction weekend as the winner of this year's Ford C. Frick Award for Broadcasting Excellence. The class of 2025 will be formally inducted July 27th in Cooperstown. And like Scott said, if you have never been, it is a hall that you need to go to. If you are any type of baseball fan, I don't care what team you're a fan of. I don't care how many players are in the hall from your team. It's really cool to see the Hall of Fame and Cooperstown, the whole town. Yeah. So it's not just the actual Hall of Fame. I mean, you go down the streets of Cooperstown and the light posts have baseballs on them and all the different memorabilia places you can go to. Doubleday Field, which is a little field not too far down the road. And it's just a very pretty area in upstate New York that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it's got a beautiful lake and just a beautiful area. I would highly recommend anybody to take a trip up there.
Well, amazingly enough, I didn't take you until Monday, but you drove by it and we drove around the whole area. And I had a lot of apple cider. So apple cider was good stuff. We couldn't have enough of that stuff anyway. And the lake, it was unbelievable. The serenity when we were driving. It was so real. And then we got to the museum actually on, I think, Monday. And then, of course, my colleague Mark Meriday was there. And we ended up meeting in person. And Mark Meriday was regular here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. And we do baseball. He's going to be joining me on hockey as well. So, his kid was out there playing ball. And it just so happens we were there at the same time we met up. We did a show remotely. So, yeah, Cooperstown's a place. I've been there, thankfully, I think now 3 times. I want to make sure Candy got there. I told her once you go to the Field of Dreams, which we did in Iowa, I said, I'm taking you to Cooperstown. And lo and behold, we were able to do it. And then on top of that trip, we ended up going to New York City. And then they took her by where the old Yankee Stadium was and the new one. And that really gave her a real taste of New York. And one little town outside of there, which is kind of cute, is Oneonta. It's a cute little town. And I remember Don Mattingly used to play out of there as well. So it's a little bit of history in the area.
Gives you chills, I'll tell you that.
I am going to take you guys to a sport that we don't talk about very much on Fire Up. I'm going to take you to men's college basketball because I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Stephen F. Austin State University announced today that that men's basketball head coach Kyle Keller has been relieved of his duties effective immediately. The decision to make a change in leadership comes after a disappointing 1-7 start to Southern Conference play and an 8-11 overall record for the season. This program's last conference championship came in 2022. The last NC2A tournament appearance was in 2018. What record is the right time during the middle of a season in college to let a head coach go?
That's wrong. I mean, you should wait till the end of the season, at least give him that benefit of the doubt. See where he takes the team. I mean, there's always two halves to every season. And what happens is if you fire the coach in the middle of the season and then the momentum of your team, even whatever is there, is gone. They're like, well, forget this. I'm not playing for this, because I was here to play for this coach. And then now you got everybody jumping to the transfer portal, and you're not going to have anybody. That's exactly what happens when you do that in the middle of the season.
Pensman, your thoughts?
I thought you were going to go to a different route, but to answer your question, that is wrong. There's two halves in basketball. There, like Ralph said, there's people that the recruiter goes to your house, the coach goes to your house, be like, hey, you want to play for my team? Here's the reason why. Here's what I give you. Here's how much money. You'll make this, you'll see that. Here's our rivalry team. And then once he's gone, the new coach comes in and everybody be like, what's going on here? It's like, it's totally stumped the players, and I don't agree with it.
Scott, your thoughts?
So on this particular topic, when was the momentum there at the beginning of the year, which provided the impetus for them to let him go? That's why they tried to make a change to shake things up. Now, keep in mind, this is the exception of the rule. You're talking about a level like this, where the cover is bare to begin with. I mean,
Right.
give the guy a little bit of a break. I mean, it's not like you're playing Division One, Power 4 or 5 conference. But administrations have to. What is the guy getting paid? $35,000 or $40,000 a year to coach this group? I have no idea what they can afford to do. I don't know how big their stadium is.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of variables and unknowns that we don't know about this particular university. But whatever reason they made, I don't know if they think they're going to get a spark plug. But the question is what's the next coach going to say? Let this guy had a little success. You're going to let me go. Why would I want to take the job?
So,
not an advertisement or an endorsement for me.
Coach Keller had entered. That was his 8th season in charge of the Lumberjack basketball program. He was coming off a 19-11 campaign. He continued to raise the bar, and over the past 4 seasons have compiled an overall record of 85-31, which ranks 13th best in all of NC2A Division I level. He is the fastest coach in SFA. He was the fastest coach in SFA history to record 100 wins, and now has an all-time record of 145-69 plus a conference mark of 89-36. And yet they let him go.
I don't think you'll have a hard time getting employment elsewhere.
No, not at all. Not at all. And sometimes you get these alums that they just for some reason have this big hard on to the fact that they don't like this guy because I don't, or maybe the athletic director looked at it just said, well, maybe we need something better. But you know what? Sometimes, firing this coach like this and trying to look for something better there, nah, unless you got money, forget it.
One of Scott's quotes that I will quote him on: if you're going to fire somebody, especially in the middle of a season, do you have somebody better in mind when you do that? If you do, then maybe it's okay and you make this switch and this change. But if you don't, what message are you sending to everybody?
Exactly.
So,
well, in this case, not the right one.
I thought it was interesting, and that's why I thought I'd bring it up tonight.
I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. You came up with a human interest story nobody on the planet would come up with.
And if you do what you say, Candy, you have to tell the players, hey, this is who's going to take over before you fire the old coach.
Yeah, because you know what, though, Pensman, some of those players might even stay on the other hand. And especially if you have an assistant in the system that recruited you, yes, right. Then you're saving your team and you're saving what you have and you're saving everything,
That's
but if you don't have a good assistant within the system, forget it. You're done.
That's why I brought that up in case you let them know.
That was a good point, though. That really was,
Yep.
So my next question. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here we go, Scott.
They let their head coach go 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks and a day. So they've been searching for a head coach. And to their surprise, nobody really was as interested. Nobody that they wanted was really interested. And it's because of the GM. So 2 weeks later, they decided to fire the GM finally. And now they're finding that some of their top prospects that they wanted for head coach have left and gone other places. But the interesting thing I thought was earlier this week, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen told the Jacksonville Jaguars that he was going to go back to his job with Tampa Bay. Now that they fired the GM, he's back to talking with Jacksonville. What are our thoughts about this whole?
Does that mean Byron Leftwich is back in the fold?
Well, you know what, Ralph? I was thinking the same thing.
And I'm going to start with
I don't know if
Scott.
he's back in the fold, but I'm sorry, Candy, but Ralph stumbled onto something. Go ahead, Candy.
I was saying that we're going to start with you talking about the whole situation, Scott. Your thoughts?
Well, and I might as well just point at Ralph now. Byron Leftwich, to me, doesn't sound so stupid. Look, 3 years ago, Doug Peterson, with all due respect, did the best he could working under Trent Baalke. They're talking about a guy like Jim Harbaugh who couldn't work with him either. Okay, Jim Tom Sula, one and done, couldn't work with him. Chip Kelly, by the way, fresh off a national championship with the Ohio State University, couldn't either. Then Baalke gets let go. My. Move the clock forward, right? And what do you have? Jacksonville. Under 500, about 20 some odd games. Out the door. Poor Peterson. Don't worry. I'm sure he's getting paid good by Con. And of course, Byron Leftwich, like Ralph said, didn't want to work with this guy. Working with him was like career suicide. Probably is, right? That's why everybody would turn him down right and left. But here's the thing. Ben Johnson was going to Chicago anyways. Aaron Glenn played for the New York Jets, wanted to go there. So I don't think they necessarily lost out on those guys because they knew where they wanted to go.
Oh yeah,
they did.
Oh,
so I don't really. I think Jacksonville may have caught it just a little bit in time. They really did. When Liam Cohen, I get paid pretty good money not to work with Trent Baalke with the Bucks.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right. So, but then all of a sudden you got a situation where, the way I look at it is, it isn't so bad after a while. This may not be a bad job. No. Now, I will go and have a little bit of fun with this quip here because on the External Bum Show, I got involved in a debate with an internal bum, okay, that talked about Trevor Lawrence. And that internal bum didn't think he could play. But that internal bum, you know what the problem is with this guy? He's never sat in a darn press box, never covered a game in person. And I know Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. You don't win a national championship in Clemson by accident under Dabo Swinney. It's hard to start off, okay, with Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson. Forget about everything in the plus. At least you got paid, okay? And then Doug Peterson straightened them out, and they won had a couple of decent years anyways, and all of a sudden it ends this way. So the internal bum lost that debate, and the reality of the situation is now Liam Cohen, since there's no interference from Trent Cancer Baalke, because that's what he is, and if I want to go out to another name, Trent Toxic Baalke is out of the picture. And all of a sudden, this becomes a much better job, doesn't it?
Well, I'm glad the Cons fired him. I mean, because that way now they can get a coach. And if I'm trying to hire a head coach because of your general manager, that should have been done a long time ago. But you know what? I'm glad they did it. They woke up a little bit, and now they're going to get a coach. The question is, who's going to be their general manager? That's going to be the question.
But they're looking for the head coach first.
Well, Detroit Lions did it. Doesn't matter. They got Dan Campbell, and then they had Brad Holmes. They made it work. No big deal. That can happen.
Yes. Pensman, your thoughts?
Well, to answer Jay's question, the wing is starting to get a little bit better, but I'm still sore. But Mike McCarthy, I want you to listen to me. Listen to me closely. Go to Florida. Ignore what happened in Dallas. Go to flight down to Florida and do the best you can and coach Jacksonville and see if you can make Trevor Lawrence like he was in Clemson. As the GM situation, they will get that GM situation situated because every GM comes in and they will find a replacement for that GM. and
Lewis Riddick.
hopefully that GM will be good enough to win a playoff game.
You know, Ralph, I think you're right. I think Lewis Riddick would be a good guy.
He's a smart guy. He's really
He is
good.
a- yeah, he is a really smart guy. I really am with you on that one. But the reality is, he'll get the coach. But now that you got rid of the cancer and the problem, this job, because the thing is, covering games in Jacksonville for the last so many years, this is a football town that's waiting to erupt. They're going to be building tearing their old building apart practically and starting anew. In a couple of years, they're going to have a state-of-the-art facility. They're building offices right down the street, and they already have a good training area where they practice. So they're doing some good things there. I enjoyed being a part of the Jags for many years under my friend Dan Edwards and with David Wolf. So this is a franchise that's on the upswing, and Trent Baalke had to go. Shad Khan had already seen enough. You can't go through coach after coach after coach that doesn't want to go there. And it gets back to what Ralph said at the top of the thing. Byron left, which isn't as stupid as most people think he is. He didn't want to work with him. So I'm backing you on that one, Ralph. All the way.
And you know what? The other team, Scott, they got egg on their face now because you know why? They didn't want to hire him because they said, well, if he can't work with Baalke, how come he can't work with these other guys here? And those other teams that didn't hire him now are regretting it now because of that situation. But you know what, though? Byron Leftwich is the one that's laughing last.
Yeah, there you go. Well said.
Scott, this one's for you here.
Okay.
The picture of the bull that's behind you, Scott. Where's that from?
The other side. One? University of South Florida.
So, J.I., let me preface that. Scott got a new vehicle, called it the Bull Cruiser. We thought about putting the front license plate being a picture of a bull. So that actually is a license plate, but they don't put front license plates on cars anymore. So you only have the back one, but on the back, on his license plate, the surround does say Bull Cruiser. And that is actually a picture that I did take at South Florida. Yes, that. So that's what that is from. That's actually a license plate that we had made from a picture that I took. Pensman, they want to know what you have to say.
I have a question for all you guys. How would you feel if Jimmy Johnson was the GM of the Jaguars?
Jimmy Johnson? The one we know, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah. They have to find somebody.
Yeah. He was a general manager of the Dallas Cowboys when they swindled the Minnesota Vikings into making that ridiculous trade. But
that's why
I don't think he'd take it at this point. It'd be too many days off the boat out in Key Largo. He wouldn't do it, but
I know. It'll be an interesting name, though.
Oh, no, I'm sure it would. Nah, a little bit too late. He's 80 years old. He's having a good time broadcasting and hanging out on the boat. I think it'd be great maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was technically the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys because we know darn well.
Just a thought.
Yeah, because technically Jerry Jones hasn't won anything since 1995 when Johnson was there. Forget about Barry Switzer, who was handed a ring thanks to Jimmy Johnson. That's another day for another story.
So I will say the Jacksonville Jaguars have come out and said that they're going to hire the head coach first. And I think that's because there's so many other head coaching vacancies out there that they want to make sure that they get the guy that they want before he's gone. I will also say that former Jaguars Tony Boselli is one of the he was a 5-time Pro Bowler. He started 90 games for the Jaguars between 95 and 2001. He is a Hall of Famer. He is now part of the Jaguars coaching search to help with the process as well.
Yeah, that reminds me of what happened in Detroit when Chris Spielman was a part of the process of Detroit, and Tony Boselli is a really respected name and with the Jaguars. He really is. So if he's in charge of the coaching search, and then eventually he'll be part of the GM search, more power to him. They got a good guy. Tony Boselli is really well respected up there.
Absolutely. Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So, my question, where do we think Robert Saleh will end up, because there have been conflicting reports that he was one of the front runners for the Jaguars. He was supposed to be flying out to the Jaguars tomorrow. There are reports that he canceled his flight now because of because Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen has re-engaged in talks. There are a report out there that the 49ers are going to hire him as defensive coordinator for their second stint. What do we think? Where will he end up? Pensman, we're going to start with you.
I say New Orleans.
Yeah, you know what? You stole my thunder on that one, because that's where my thought process goes. But you know what, though, Pensman? Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
You know, that would be the job I think he would take.
Easily the Saints. The Saints would be easily.
Ralph, I wonder where you got that line from, Ralph. Seriously, really?
I got that. Great minds think alike, my friend.
This guy absorbs more than I give him credit for. Let the road to 200 begin today. And Ralph,
yes, it does.
Please
follow me on Twitter.
The reason I'm saying the Saints is because the team's good enough, and he wants to be indoors. He's tired of being in the cold. So,
yeah,
I just think the team's ready, and they're ready to. They just need a good coach to get them motivated. Go ahead, Ralph.
Ralph already said he agrees with you, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ralph. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Okay, Scott.
The only place that makes sense for me now is he goes back to the 49ers and makes a boatload of money with the Niners. I don't see a head coaching job that he would take. I mean, maybe the Raiders job would be appealing to Saints. I don't know that. I think they need an offensive-minded coach. They really do. Take that money with the 49ers, and they'll pay you a lot of money. They appreciate what you did before. They're probably thrilled that you're available again. We all know that he did a great job at that Jets defense before he was let go unceremoniously by Woody Johnson. He really did. You can't tell me what the interim coach did. That defense went south pretty quick, didn't it? So take the money with the 49ers. I don't think there's a head coaching job that would make sense for Robert Saleh. I know Larry Foote, I believe, is the front runner for the Lions defensive coordinator. If he wasn't, I would say Robert Saleh should go back to Detroit, take that job, because he's from Dearborn, Michigan anyway. But I see him heading back to San Francisco, unless for some reason or another a shocking development takes place and he gets one of those few head coaching jobs. But you know what? The variable is Jerry Jones. What would he do? But really, the front runner for that job, I think, is either Kellen Moore or was it Schottenheimer, right?
Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer. Yes, they
Brian
said he was. Yeah.
It'll be one of those two guys that I think ultimately gets it.
So we have some championship NFC and AFC championship games this weekend. Predictions, and I'm going to start with Ralph. Let's start with the first game at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's going to take
Bill Cowher once said, "This is the National Football League, and anything can happen." Okay. Washington's had a good season. They got a rookie quarterback, but I don't want to see Kenny Pickett get a Super Bowl ring. So therefore, I'm taking Washington in this game only for that purpose. All right. Philly does have a good team. They have some good coordinators. If Kellen Moore leaves, but if they don't win a Super Bowl, Sirianni, I think he gets fired. So I mean, they're desperate, and sometimes desperate teams screw up. So guess what? Washington might win this game.
Pensman. Oh, well, no. Wait. Let's go to the other game first for Ralph, so he can make his two predictions. Buffalo at the Chiefs.
I want Buffalo because I want to see the Chiefs get 3 in a row.
Okay, Pensman.
I have the Commanders winning because of Jaden Daniels. And I have nothing against Kenny Pickett. So if the Eagles win, it's because of Barkley. So that's what I have to put on that one. And the Bills are beating the Chiefs. That's That's what I'm thinking. I have.
No, I don't hate Kenny Pickett, Jay. I just didn't like the way he conducted himself when he was told that he had to compete for his job and cried like a little baby, so the Steelers had to ship him out.
Okay, Scott.
Ralph, I was giving you a smart hat all show until you said that Sirianni doesn't win, he's going to get fired. Now I'm going to find a dumb cap and send it. What's your address out in Pittsburgh? How the heck can you say Sirianni's going to get fired? Are you seriously stupid?
No,
Are
because
you really stupid?
Lori
I'm done.
Super Bowl or bust. He's
No,
done.
it isn't. Not out there, you
No
man.
way. No
I don't want to hear it. Sirianni's not getting fired, Ralph. Seriously? Really?
Philadelphia loves Sirianni too much.
Now I got Siri activated here and upset with me on this phone here because I'm so loud. Siri thinks I'm going crazy because I'm chewing this guy out. Ralph, you were smart on the show. How did you get stupid over Sirianni getting fired? No, God, picking away. Okay, Siri, it's okay. We're on a live show here. Okay, so don't worry, I'm cool. Siri, you know these things, how they light up here when you get a little loud. It so happens that mine's a little bit loud here. That's called an iPhone, people. But I like them. I wouldn't have it any other way. As far as predictions,
no, I like Sirianni too, but
but you're saying the guy would get fired. Come on, Ralph. No, I'm going to call. Well, wait a minute. I'm going to call you the internal bum on this show. I don't come on here very often. I'm calling you the internal bum on this show. This is a country club. You know what this is tonight with you, Ralph? It's what you call the cotton picking boot camp. Seriously, Ralph? I know you can't handle it. Deal with it.
Okay, Scott, your predictions.
Yeah, my predictions. Yeah, I forgot I had to give those. Okay, Washington. Washington. The last time the Washington team played the Detroit Lions in the playoffs back in 1992, they went to the Super Bowl. They beat the Lions this year. They get back to the Super Bowl again. Unbelievable year for Dan Quinn. What a remarkable turnaround. Jaden Daniels. Lions didn't help matters out at all by having 5 turnovers, but it's too bad that the internal bum on the other show was having a Ryan song here mourning the death of that team when reality set that the turnover situation will bite you all day long, and it's worse than a cotton-picking cobra snake that'll give you venom in the wrong places. But and true with the prediction itself, Washington there, and I got to go with Kansas City. Until Buffalo proves that they can beat this team, I'm going to go with Kansas City.
Seriously?
Yeah. Seriously. Why, you afraid you're going to be wrong?
No, I'm just saying that Buffalo has a chance this week.
Well, they have a chance. All 4 teams have a chance. They're still alive. Come on, Penn, really?
Yeah,
everybody.
All 4 teams have a chance. But according to that internal bum up in Michigan, okay, and I really having a lot of time with my story here tonight. The reality is we ain't mourning the team. We're just talking about the reality of the situation of the 4 that are in there. You can't commit 5 turnovers like you did against the Houston Texans and expect to win. You can't do it. But Josh Allen's a heck of a quarterback, okay? And if this guy is on fire, and the Chiefs have won a lot of close games, if this game, to me, as far as I'm concerned, can't get close, if it gets close, and you have Josh Allen, as far as I'm concerned, the Bills have a puncher's chance. But I'm going with Kansas City right now until Buffalo proves to me that they can overtake this team once and for all. And as far as Sirianni getting fired, well, Ralph, I think knows by now, after the torch he needed that, he's getting fired. I think they're really happy with what he's done. And then, of course, you got Saquon Barkley, the future MVP, playing on that team. I still think Washington comes away with a win. And Dan Quinn looks like a genius because he outsmarted Dan Campbell and beat Campbell in his own game.
Yeah.
I have breaking news.
It's called the Bobby Lane curse. My co-host Smoking Jim Frazier always says the Bobby Lane curse, he calls it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to say. The last time they won a championship was on December 29th, 1957. I was born December 29th, 1962. I remember that day because it was my birthday. I haven't lived to see one of those bad boys. I was actually hoping the Lions would get to the Super Bowl, not because of the fact that I'm a fan, because I'm not. I feel I'm an objective journalist here. But I'll tell you, the sound bite from Campbell would have been something that would have been unbelievable.
Pensman, you were going to say something?
I have breaking news. Cam Jordan didn't practice all week. Dallas Goddard didn't practice all week. Commanders, go eat. Go eat.
Okay, now we are to one of the segments that I created when I don't know, probably not too long after I started the show, and it is My Town. So that is a segment where you talk about something that is happening either in the town you live in now or the town you grew up in, if that's whichever one you prefer. So we are going to start with Ralph. What's happening in your town?
Well, not a whole lot. Penguins are doing the roller coaster season again, and so winning about 3 games and losing 10. They just Tristan Jari is down in the minors where he belongs, and we're going to see what happens with the rest of the season with the Penguins. And the Pirates, of course, we had the Paul Skenes discussion earlier. But pitchers and catchers are starting up, I think, in the next week or two. So for baseball, get everybody ready for the games. And this week's championship games are going to be interesting. And congratulations to Ohio State for beating Notre Dame. So,
okay, Scott, what's happening in your town?
I'm wearing a Red Wings shirt tonight. Had a great time wearing it on the Rod Peterson show. Red Wings 4, Montreal 2. What can I say? Great win by the Wings. And the best part about it is Rod Peterson in Montreal. I had Detroit. Rod, if you're listening here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network, and you probably are, you got me again. I tell you, good win for the Wings over the Habs. It really was. Had a great time with Rod today. And you know what? I've enjoyed coming on this show. You guys are a lot of fun to be with. I love every one of you. You know, I've had a high energy day. Yeah, the amount of Diet Mountain Dew I've had, I'm still waiting to be wrote. No matter what show I go on, I'm only been on my third one of the day. Starting with Rod, having our own show, the Sports Crusade, and now Fire Up. Been great. So you know what? I'll stay with the Wings thing tonight, and I'm really glad that they did pretty well. No Florida stuff tonight. Well, actually, you know what? If you have anything Florida you want to mention, Candy, I'll let you do it.
Okay. Pensman.
I'm going to go little north, little up towards the north, and go to New York. And we already talked about this, but I am so happy about CC Sabathia getting the Hall of Fame. He deserved it, and Ichiro got it. And the Yankees are making a lot of picks, so I think we're going to be the AL champions once again. That's what's happening in my town.
So one of the towns that I associate with obviously is Milwaukee because I grew up there. I lived there for over 40 years. One of the things that was announced tonight was the first 10 NBA All-Stars were revealed tonight. And one of them was Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo. He earned a spot for his 9th consecutive All-Star game, while Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James scored his NBA record 21st appearance at the event. So the Eastern Conference will have Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Karl Anthony Towns. And the Western Conference, and if I mispronounce a name, I apologize, but Shai Horace Alexander, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. Despite leading the fan vote for guards in the East, Charlotte Hornets star LaMelo Ball narrowly missed out on making his second All-Star appearance. And then there were others that didn't make it as well, but the NBA will announce the 14 other All-Star players next week. The All-Star game is scheduled for February 16th in Golden State. The other thing is and I know I said this last night. I'm going to, yeah, Jay, thank you very much. You thought I was 25. No, I am quite older than that. We won't go into quite how old, but that's fine. The other thing that's happened in my town is, for those of you that didn't see Monday night, Eric Katz and I did a tribute show to Bob Uecker. So rest in peace, Bob Uecker. As far as Florida goes, the Panthers are playing. The Heat are playing. In fact, tonight, the Heat are playing my Milwaukee Bucks, to be honest with you. The game is still going on. Last I checked. Let me see if I can give you. It's in the third. Milwaukee is up 81 to the Heat 62. The Heat have suspended Jimmy Butler for the second time this season, and I think it's even the second time this month, much less. So that's kind of the things that are happening in my town.
Well, let me add one to it. I didn't know if you were going to mention this, but you mentioned to me before it went live. Miami Hurricanes will be hosting the Notre Dame Fighting Irish over at Hard Rock Stadium, I believe, on Sunday, August 30th, 31st, something like that. I think the NFL starts the following week, so it'll be pretty good. God willing, help providing for me anyways, that Candy and I will be able to cover the game. She's never seen the Fighting Irish. I'd love nothing better than Candy to have a chance to see the Fighting Irish. And the Miami Hurricanes should have made the college football playoff. They didn't. Obviously, they didn't win the important games when it mattered. But for those of you that know, Miami and Notre Dame have had a pretty good rivalry over the years. And it'll be great to see them face off and kick off here at Hard Rock. I'm looking forward to getting to it. So, great stuff. I believe it's on a Sunday night. I don't know what network it's on, but it's must-watch TV.
Anything else anybody else wants to talk about?
Sure, my book.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, we want to promote that. We have not done that yet. Let's make sure we do that. The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by Scott, Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the business and how it has changed. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, Apple, and audio coming later this year. Scott, tell us a little bit about your experience about writing it.
Right. Outlining it, index cards, memories, 45 years in the making, old school media versus new school media. The only regret I have is I didn't add a few more pictures, but the book coach I had advised me that this was a better book with more content and pictures. I have no problem. I'll write another one later in the year, and those pictures that I didn't get earlier will be in the next version. I'll outline it sometime this year. It was a fun book to write. Brought back a lot of great memories. And for those of you that are getting it that are not familiar with the industry, this is a good book that'll educate you about old and where it currently stands. It was a lot of fun to write. It really was. And I can always say now that I'm a published author, and that was one of my lifelong goals, is to be that, let alone being in this industry for 25 years. It was something that I was really, really pleased to do, but I'm not done yet.
Awesome. Again, that book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Apple, and Google Books. Audio coming later this year, and there's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, for it. Ralph, tell us,
yes,
how can people get a hold of you?
Well, I have my own production company, RW Media Productions. You can catch me on YouTube, Ralph Williams, RW Media. Please subscribe. And I have all my shows on there as well, general talk, sports, wrestling, and a whole lot more on there, so check them out as well. I have 2 radio shows here in Pittsburgh on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show. My guest is next Saturday, not this Saturday. This Saturday, it's just me because the 4th Saturday of the month, I always I'm solo, but every other episode I have a guest on. I have Tony Moreno coming on next week. He's running for Republican side of the mayor's race in the city of Pittsburgh. And then from 2 to 3 p.m., I have the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree, and the External Bum Show from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And it's now on the Huddle Sports Network as well as YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. And all my shows, the Sports Corner Show and the Wrestle Talk Show on Tuesdays, is also on the Huddle Sports Network as well. And you can also reach me on Twitter. Please follow me. And also I'm on Facebook and Tumblr and LinkedIn.
Okay, Pensman, how can people get a hold of you?
Before I do that, I have one thing to say real quick, and that is I'd like to congratulate Cal Perry last night because he won his first conference game as an Arkansas Razorback head coach. Coaching that team from Kentucky to Arkansas, that is a big demotion.
Yeah, John Calipari,
but
yeah.
I just want to say congratulations of Cal Perry of going and winning your first conference game. I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work. But after that, you can find me on YouTube, Pensman Sports, and you can find me on X on Pensman Sports.
Scott, do you want to go or you want me to just go over everything?
You go over it. I think my voice is taxed. I think I've done enough series and really for a few shows all day that I'm probably at the end. It might be better for Ralph and Pensman. I'm losing my voice. But at least we've had a lot of fun doing this show tonight. So
Absolutely.
These guys are great people. I enjoy coming out with these guys. Candy, you know what I think of you. I don't understand a lot more.
So we are going to talk about, if you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. iHeart, Google, Apple Podcast. Check us out. Check out our South Florida Tribune YouTube page. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you haven't subscribed to us. Please do so. We're striving for more and more because we like to entertain and educate people, and we want to keep doing that for all of you guys. So hit that like and share. Share us with all your friends and family. Anybody that you think would enjoy any one of our programs. Monday nights, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. We talk baseball. Tuesday nights, Inside the Pigskin. And let me just rephrase. Monday nights, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. He is a former MLB player on the show who has won multiple World Series rings. Tuesday nights on Inside the Pigskin. Sometimes he has a former player. Sometimes he has a former coach. Check it out. I would say Wednesday night Sports Exchange. You never know what we're going to be talking about. Thursday night, he sometimes does a Sports Exchange episode. You never know what they're going to be talking about. A lot of times they throw in a little bit of hockey. Then we have Fire Up tonight. Now I will say, Scott, you want me to preview? You have a special show on Monday night. You want to tell us who you are going to be interviewing?
Absolutely, Candy. Thank you very much. Monday night, Motor City Mad Mouse Show, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Super Bowl winning wide receiver Don Beebe joins me on the Motor City.
Whoa. Wow.
Don Beebe. He's a good friend of mine. He really, really is. Written a couple books. He's the head coach at Aurora College or University out in Aurora, Illinois. What a super nice guy. We have a good working relationship. I had a chance to meet him and get a couple books. And, of course, I have one. He's got a couple. And we're going to be able to talk about a lot of different things. We're not going to talk about it only the NFL, but the books. We're also going to talk about college football today and how he works at that particular level. And he's probably glad he's not over in the Division I level where all this insanity is taking place. So looking forward to having him Monday night. And, of course, Candy and I will be departing for New Orleans a week from Saturday for Super Bowl 59 out in New Orleans. It's going to be a fun time. It's their first rodeo at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. This will be my fifth. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she reacts to the circus, which will be. And she won't realize what hit her until she's there. So, but Don Beebe's a good guy. I have a lot of good friends in this industry. And I think, like anything else, I had a show earlier this year or later this year, or last year rather, with Kenny Albert. TNT.
Okay.
So Don Beebe's just another great guy, and I have a lot more things in the works. I love one-on-one interviews. I really, really do. It gives me the opportunity. One of the guys I used to pattern myself around is Roy Firestone. And Roy Firestone used to have a show called Up Close. And I look at one-on-one interviews as my version of being up close to people just to get into their heads a little bit. And even last week we had a show with the woman from the Coral Springs Chamber of Commerce named Meryl Catlin, who talks about making podcasts on the profession of people. But not getting too far off subject, Don Beebe joins me, Motor City Mad Mouth show, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you can join us on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. Lots of great updates. Thanks, King.
You're welcome.
Real quick, Candy, before you get into the book, if you two are going to New Orleans, stop in the Spirits on Bourbon and say hello to my friend Brad Bohan, and he owns the establishment, and he also, his friend Steve Smith owns a place called Turtle Bay. They're right there on the French Quarter there, or whatever they call that there, Bourbon Street there. So
yeah, somehow I got to get the Pat O'Brien and have one of their Hurricanes. Oh my God, that'll keep me busy.
They have a specialty cup too that they have there.
People, if you haven't been to New Orleans, you haven't been to Pat O'Brien's, you got to go there. I've had so many hangovers there that you'd laugh if you thought I was loud and wild, and I get but a couple of those bad boys in me, and then I get really crazy silly.
Okay.
And for Candy, NCIS New Orleans, she's rushing up on it to get familiar with that town.
Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morgenroth. He published it. We published it. South Florida Tribune published it. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google, Apple, Kindle. Audio coming later this year. Check it out. It talks about, Scott's got some great stories. If you think he had stories tonight, he's got way more stories in that book. And he's got a picture of him as a young reporter talking to none other than Muhammad Ali. Check out the book. Get your copy today. Also, go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. You get a copy. You can look for a link for the book, a link for our merchandise store, a plethora of great articles. Check it out. Some okay pictures that I've taken here or there. But check it out. Also, Tuesday nights, I am on a Chicks podcast. It's called 3 Chicks in a Pod or Chicks and Salsa. Check it out, 7:30 Tuesday nights. Definitely. And if you want to advertise on our network or sponsor a show, call us. Scott, 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest on a show or have show ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat room tonight. I want to thank you three gentlemen for spending yourselves for this hour and us talking sports. It's something I love to do. So thank you. Thank everybody that watched us.
And yes, Jay, as always, I appreciate the kind of words that you provide. You're the greatest. I love this guy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Friend of the show.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy football this weekend. Any other thoughts?
No, not really. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with these championship games this weekend. We're going to find out. We got a heat wave here in Pittsburgh. We're going to be up to 35 degrees. Wow.
You and everybody else, pal.
Polar vortex.
I want to find out what I have at these press conferences to work when we get out to the Big Easy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all good. It's all good. Everybody enjoy your weekend and enjoy the football. Let's see who wins. Have a good one, everybody.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Good night.